Welcome back to some professional Starcraft 2 from Team Liquid Star League number 5. You'll be like, wait a second. Maybe I played Starcraft 2 Wings of Liberty. I remember Team Liquid Star League. But, like, when was the last one? 2012. Yes. That's the one. But, the Shopify CEO, I believe his name is Tobias, Lurker. I'm going to butcher that. But also sponsoring Home Story Cup 20, or at least adding to the prize pool, helped make it happen. Just a shout out there to start things off. And it brings us some of the best games we've seen. While we're stuck inside, we can get out. And I really was hoping I would figure something out by the end of that sentence. But what we're going to need to figure out is how Reynor is going to take on this mechanical titan. In the top left, the Italian Zerg, the Slayer of Serral, the man who's got the APM of a few dozen hands. Nope, Reynor. And in the bottom right, the unfortunately what we're missing out on is the Smirk tier here. For those who don't know, when we're watching GSL live, it's very important. Like, there's a lot of like who wins and who loses, but when Innovation is playing, you've got to figure out. I'll show you, Jimmy, bring it up. Give me the Smirkovation meter. From 1 to 4, of course, depending on what cheeky battlecruiser rush he just pulled off, whether or not he thinks that he really should have won that game. You never know. But it's Innovation, who's finally living up to his name recently, as opposed to just trying to make whatever build work, even if his opponent is hard countering it. There was a while of that. It was pretty rough. Well, I think I've filled enough time here. We've gotten to the 3-minute mark. There are 3 command centers. Innovation with the 1-1-3 build. 1 barracks, 1 factory, 3 command centers. And, wait, does that... Reynor with the sickest Overlord micro. Like microing a walrus that can fly and has tentacles, and now it's becoming less and less like a walrus. Innovation has a tendency to do this. He'll take the risks. He'll put on the greed. Reynor, it's doubtful in game 1 of a best of 5 is going to find him... Well, he's not going to go for a Roachling all-in. I think Reynor feels comfortable enough against Innovation. Like, Reynor doesn't strike me as a guy who's particularly scared of any player. Probably behind that, there's a little bit of like, okay, I'm worried about, I don't know, mech late game or Serral in general, but he comes in ready to beat anyone, and he oftentimes does. So, what is Inno going to come up with? It's not going to be mech. It's just going to be your straight-up bio play off of 3cc. We used to call this going full Terran, when you just kind of build 3 command centers and pray you don't die, because then you get a ridiculous economy. Even if you lose dozens of SCVs, having 3 mules that early on, in Legacy of the Void, mules and Chrono Boost and Larva Inject were all slightly nerfed to have a less dramatic effect, but mules are still worth 4 or 5 or so SCVs while they're mining. Well, as you can see, Innovation started dropping mules, and the income gap started to rise. Now, of course, you got to look at the y-axis there. Well, dun 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 dun. 3 CCs do a lot to put your income over the top. Reynor, though, he's building his drones. Does he have evolution chambers? Is he going to do my personal pet peeve of walling off the 3rd with Evo chambers and then losing them right before you get your upgrades? I certainly hope not. It is actually concerning me a little bit that Reynor isn't going for Evo chambers at all. Innovation has 3 CCs. Now, what does Reynor know? Let's go to the Reynor action cam and so much action. If Reynor's... Take a bet right now with yourself. Okay? Is Reynor going to be over or under 500 APM by the end of this match? And if you're correct, I don't know. You go get those pizza rolls. You deserve them. You were right. You flipped a coin and you were right. Meanwhile, Ling's coming in. A pretty high amount. for this early on. The Marines come down to defend. Oh, 1 or 2 mules getting picked off. But Innovation already has +1 on the way. He hasn't started his +1 armor. There you go. The Evo chambers at the 3rd! You better not lose those. It's like, I get it. You kind of want to wall off, and Evo chambers are less important than a hatchery, but, like, not by that much. Anyways, the Viking, how many kills? Just the 1 for now. That's number 2, coming down. No lair tech besides Baneling speed. Is it going to be a Spire? We've seen a resurgence of Spire play from Zergs, which always a little risky it feels, but definitely the top tier players can take advantage of it. Double drop heading towards the main. He just cleared out the Overlords, remember? Which opens up an opportunity. Lings darting in towards the 3rd. There's not that many units here. He's going to get several SCVs and maybe some of the Marines. But what is there in the main? The Marines will eventually clean this up. There are plenty of units, but if the units are all allowed to drop out, he actually just goes straight for the mineral line. Going to be killing drones right off the bat. +1 attack is done. Combat shield. The timing is near perfect. He's targeting the spawning pool. A new one will be rebuilt. The spawning pool. Not the ideal building to be going down. When you only have Zergling and Baneling tech, I might add. He does actually save it and cancel the backup spawning pool. Innovation, though. Humming along. He started his +2. Now, he doesn't have an overwhelming amount of SCVs, but the income, well, looking good for Reynor. Remember, Innovation lost a few mules. He had to pull SCVs out of his 3rd, but that's not going to last forever. The +2/+2 is oftentimes the deciding factor in these engagements because Lingbane versus Marine Medevac has a lot to do with how much splash damage the Marines can take, as well as whether the Zerglings can close the distance. There's a Hydralisk den, an infestation pit on the way. Reynor has 83 drones right now. This is mostly a defensive posture despite his count. Oh, I love it. Reynor, the Lurker Whisper. I've been saying it. I was saying it. Raynor's pretty much the only Zerg player I've seen that is reliably going Lurkers. He's going with them at Hive because the Hive tech Lurkers are so much better. That extra range and effectively drilling claws. Allowing them to burrow and move ridiculously fast, especially on creep. I love the Lurkers. I don't know why more people don't go Lurkers. Like, I see people trying to go Hydraling Bane up against Widow Mines or tanks. It's just not working out. Reynor understands. Lurkers are not a defensive unit. They're an aggressive unit for an aggressive player like himself. And that is a lot of times what Reynor struggles with, or struggled with in the past before the Lurker got its upgrades. Is he's all over the map, but his units just aren't cost-effective enough when we get to the later game. But now, well, Lurkers kind of solved that problem. These Widow Mines, he splits off a Ling. It ends up doing very little, besides hitting the Medevacs with the splash damage. There's still a Viking chilling. His purpose has ended. Is the Hive done? Hive is nearly complete. Lurker's already on the way. I'm sure those Lurker upgrades will start. Reynor splits over to the side. Innovation holding a forward position on both fronts. An incredible economy from both players right now, with over 3,000 minerals and 1,000 gas a minute. Just think of what you can afford. And I know it's a struggle for many of you to think about even spending that many units, that many resources for even 1 minute. But these players are constantly doing it for 5, 10, 15 minutes straight until they start running out of minerals. Oh, the Lurkers, though. It doesn't matter how much you spread. They're still doing a whole lot of damage. The Lingbane comes back. He's going for the drops at the front. Loses 2 Wait, no, just 1 Lurker goes down. 2-2 is not yet done for Reynor, but the Lurkers don't care that much against upgrades. About upgrades, rather. Another drop in the back for Innovation. A triple drop is being sent out. Things are heating up as both players approach max supply. It can't hold forever. The spawning pool goes down. Adrenal glands is
denied.
And that is a significant delay on the highest DPS upgrade you can get to Zerglings. Marines forced to pull back, but Innovation keeping control of the creep as best he can. Right now, 84 and 85 workers, near dead even. But Reynor is maxed out. He has his lurkers and he wants to use them. If Innovation commits too much to the drops, he won't have enough to break the lurkers. Nice Widowmine hits here. Drilling Claws, of course, is complete. Reynor's moving in, though. He's got seismic spines for that lurker range, which means Bio is going to be very hard-pressed to close the distance. Looks like, you know, dropped on some Banes. I'm not sure who that was a better trade for. But Reynor's lurkers are moving in. Tanks exposed. Takes him out pretty easily. He has detection. The Widow Mines don't really get the connections. Lurkers ripping through. Innovation attacking on the other side. Gunning down Queens. A minefield as well. But Reynor has taken out this base. The SCVs lining up, but somehow dodge the Lurker spines and the overlapping damage. This base is gone, but more Widow Mines are moving in towards the third. Drilling Claws, making them pretty effective here. Hitting a whole lot of Zerglings. The base has to be lifted. Innovation still has one on the left side. Reynor hasn't really been forced to stop mining at all. That Viking finally, I think Innovation, we saw a very rare select all army hockey there out of him. But there it goes. Innovation still has 75 SCVs. He still has mining, but he did lose a mining location. Reynor did some damage there. It's far from over, but if he loses the base to the south, he's on very thin ice. Oh, that Liberator taking a whole lot of shots. Targets one. He might have just been already targeting it with the Liberator, but a huge Zergling attack. Innovation does not raise the depot, and now the Zerglings are inside. And that's exactly obviously where you don't want them to be. Plenty of Lurkers underneath the Liberation. Hydras will clean it up. There's not enough Liberators to really make the difference. Reynor's everywhere at once. He's nearing 500 average actions per minute, and that's a slow day for him. He's taking no damage on the other side of the map. The command center will it burn? Yes, it does. Innovation did lift it in time, and the Mule had no hope of saving it. Innovation beaten down to 156 supply. Reynor, essentially untouched, now has a significant advantage in income. And there's no reason for him to stop this aggression. Innovation is on constant defense against someone who has more money and a more, constantly more effective unit composition. It's looking very tough. Parasitic Bomb makes it that much easier to take out the Medivacs. Reynor runs him over in game one pretty decisively. As soon as those Lurkers came out, Reynor was out for blood and ripped Innovation's face off with those spines. Not a great sign for the Korean Terran. Reynor on point. I love the Lurker. I love the Lurkers. Okay, I'm a big Lurker fan, but only the way Reynor plays them. Like a lot of players, they look at Lurkers and they think, okay, nice defensive unit. This gives Zerg... No. The best defense is a good offense. And Reynor shows that again. Reynor definitely not a defensive player overall. In fact, sometimes too aggressive, but he's learned to temper it pretty well. Let's see, Innovation. Can he slow it down? Honestly, a lot of people think of Lurkers against mech, but I don't understand that. I've seen more Lurkers against mech since the Hive Tech upgrade buff than I have against Bio. But it feels like to me, and they might work sometime, it feels like to me, obviously, Bio units are much more vulnerable. They have so much less HP. And range and all that. I don't know. But hopefully this is the start of a trend. I want to see more. Game 2. Big S map. Standard. S for standard. S for spicy. For stim. There's a whole lot of words. What is this? Is this a scout for Proxy Rex? Wow. Zerg players have been hurt before. He's not going to go 3 at... Yeah, he's scouting for procs. Wow, Reynor. I mean, I think it's a good move, but just the fact this is happening tells you how often and how dangerous those proxy racks are. And that was an early one, too. That's like, if I find it, I might actually be able to kill your SCVs. The Overlord scouted up to the north and then down again. So Reynor has essentially created a vision perimeter around his base. A no proxy zone. Now, of course, Innovation is not going for a proxy. But I can almost guarantee there will be one. And will be the final game of the series, whatever that ends up being. Will Reynor stop being so diligent? We will see. Reynor with a relatively greedy build. Now, he earned that. By greedy build, I mean hatchery and then building several drones, 2 or 3 after the hatch, and then a gas in a pool. Like, if you want to do a safe build, either you maybe build your hatch quicker, or you don't build as many or any drones after building the hatch to make sure you get your pool out in time. Honestly, I personally more favor, and I think a lot of pro players favor, like, if you want to play safe, you just go pool first and then get the hatch, so that way you have more options as opposed to just a worse economy. Will a Zergling die to a Reaper? No. Innovation, you're so great. He's like, the problem was I wasn't greedy enough. No, this is the same build as last game. Is that still required? So the reason why you see that mule pulled off like that sometimes from Terran players is technically, depending on which patch the mule was mining from, a close or a far patch, the last trip of the mule, it mines minerals and then dies before returning the minerals, thus wasting 30 minerals. But if you put, I think it's if you put it on a close patch, because if you put it on a close patch, the rest of, it gets that partial extra trip, and it gets the other minerals faster by like that much. I don't know if that's still necessary. I think they tried to fix it at one point. There was a patch note like, and now you don't have to do this anymore, but I don't think it actually did anything. I don't remember how that ended. The Reaper dies. Murder! But it did trespass. And by the stand your creep laws of the Zerg, the queens were well within their rights and duty to kill that Reaper. The Reaper mostly just scouting. So the most vulnerable thing to Innovation is like is a big roach island or something like that. He is scouted behind the mineral. He literally scoured almost all of the creep. Not all of it, but the vast majority. He can be pretty confident there isn't a roach island coming because he looked through all the places a roach warren could be, unless somehow Reynor did some crazy like proxy roach warren play with a hatch cancel, which no, I would love it, but I think it is a terrible idea. Proxy Spire is already kind of weird, but he now knows, okay, I don't have to panic, build 17 bunkers. Reynor's playing safe and somewhat greedy, which is perfectly fine for me. I don't think Reynor is going to be too worried about it. Like, last game, both players macroed up almost a no-rush, like, 7-minute game. And Reynor kind of crushed Innovation, to be honest. Like, it wasn't one-sided, but there was no point where it felt like, oh, Reynor's under a lot of pressure. Let's see if it can turn this around. No, no, no. Like, there were a couple drops that got in that were a little dangerous, and then Reynor just started beating on Innovation until he cracked. So, what is Innovation going to do differently this time? So far, it looks essentially the same on both sides. Actually, no. Reynor has gone for his upgrades slightly earlier with a later Baneling Nest. He's gotten +1 Carapace and delayed the lair slightly to get that. Whereas Innovation, almost identical. Less Widow Mines this time. It looks like he's going into tanks quicker. But it's effectively identical for Inno. It's like, this is the Inno we're used to seeing. This is not the, I just battle cruiser rush Maru innovation. This is the, I have a build and I'm going to do it 3 games in a row, even if I lose 3-0. Brenda! What, Karen? We were getting the Hellions. It's fine. We have Zerglings. Yeah, but... a little awkward whenever you send those queens on an attack move sometimes, but Innovation still staying on top of the creep. Hydralisk Den, a lot quicker this time around. Just some minor adjustments in Reynor's play. I'm not sure if they're in... It doesn't seem like they're really in reaction to anything. It just seems that's how he's chosen to play this time around. I don't know if they're like, I could have done this better last game, or if they're, I'm trying to mix up my build slightly. Bit of a supply block here with a lot of minerals in the bank. Some more Overlords finishing up. Reynor doesn't have an infestation bit, but he does have the Hydra Den. It's looking a little more like that Hydraling Bane style, but we are earlier on in the match. Hellions looking for an opportunity. Oh, Baneling's on the high ground. Baneling speed. Oh, is he going to do a Baneling drop against Terran? Reynor, you crazy, crazy boy. Oh, Hellbat attack coming in. Very TYS here. Baneling speed is done. +1 melee attack. Notably not so, but wait! Massive damage on Innovation. 15 SCVs go down in the first round. Now the Banelings are dropping into the main. This didn't go nearly as well. That was a bit of a mistake. 16 SCVs though, and down. That is critical damage. He needs to do something with this attack. Innovation needs to turn it around. He needs, ideally, at least kill this base, if not more. But Reynor is now up 20 supply. Tanks chilling. It's a bit of a nasty location to break. Reynor doesn't have to hold, but the only awkward part here is that the Baneling nest is right there. 9 more SCVs go down. Innovation hurting here. An attack is coming in. All from 1A. Oh, wait, there are some Zerglings from the back. Banelings trickling through the tanks. The Marines being microed well, but it's just not enough. Innovation does stand his ground, but with only so much left over. Reynor now up 40 supply. The damage has been done. It's not a game ender, but 77 against 48 SCVs. There's 2-2 on the way. Reynor notably did not start +2 melee attack. That is very important to point out. So there will be an opportunity for Innovation. The army supply is actually in favor of the Korean Terran, and so far, he's not out of it. Like, I gotta, like, no, GG any second, no. But there's a hill to climb here. Innovation has to really pick his fights decisively. He can't just try to throw things every direction and see what sticks. Reynor's not going to let that happen. Oh, reinforcements holding the depot area. +2/+2 is about to finish. This army is not looking incredibly strong. There's only 1 tank with it. So much Ling Bane. Here comes Reynor from both sides right before 2-2 is finishing for Inno as well. This army looking to get smashed, and it will. Innovation forced to pick up and pull out. Vipers are on the way. No Lurkers this time for Reynor, but it doesn't seem like he needs them. Vipers for Parasitic Bomb and Abduct. Maybe some Blinding Cloud, but I'd imagine Parasitic Bomb to start clearing up that medevac count, because he does not have a Spire. Innovation does finish his +2/+2. He's got a couple tanks with the army. A whole lot of medevacs, by the way, once again. So if the Banelings do not connect, the stopping power of these Marines is significant. Meanwhile, big counterattack, but a pseudo-wall is more than enough to stop Reynor for now. The Marines are stepping forward. The Baneling nest in that vulnerable location, but back in the mineral line. SCV is going to be slaughtered. Reynor ready to split and go for the attack. He's bringing... He slaughtered the SCVs, and now back come the Zerglings to flank from both sides. Here comes Reynor. You see it on the mini-map. Zerglings from the back. Hydraling Bane from the front. Oh, the Viper's coming in. He doesn't have enough energy for anything significant. There we go. Blinding Cloud on the tank. The Zerglings on the other side. What, the Marines are standing their ground. A bit of a disjointed attack. Reynor not bringing both sides together. 5 HP siege tank. Not going to last long. There's not that much energy here on the Vipers. Zergling counterattack catches a tank. That's real value. He hasn't started Adrenal Glands, but does it matter? Meanwhile, Parasitic Bomb on the Medivacs. He's not microing because he's busy on the other side. The Parasitic Bomb led into the other Medivacs. Innovation dropping in supply again as Reynor continues to stream through and goes on to match point. Well, I didn't expect it to be that. The game 1 was 13 minutes. That was 11 minutes. I thought we would get more mileage out of this one, but so far Reynor has just overwhelmed Innovation, who did the same build both games, and he died to a greedier Zerg in both games. I'm not. What do you adjust here? Maybe I'm a big fan of mech. Maybe you just start proxy rexing. I don't. But why? He's got one more chance. He's got one shot. He's got one opportunity. Now the question is, will he capture it, or potentially does he let it slip? As it's just not panning out. Eternal Empire is coming in next. But Eternal Empire is a harder map. I guess it depends on your style, because it's a large map, so some might say that favors Zerg, but you have 3 or 4 bases that can be pretty easily defended compared to the maps we played thus far, where the 4th base is more vulnerable. Does that factor in? I don't know, but we'll find out after these quick advertisements. Hey everyone! I'm Winter, also known as Angry Coach. Did you know that I do coaching, and you can find it on YouTube for free? But back in the day, I used to do coaching like normal coaching. I'm not great at this game, but I'm pretty okay sometimes. But I got kind of sick of having people not show up for too little money, and then being like, well, I just need to adjust a few things. No. If you're a Platinum Zerg, if you're a Diamond Terran, if you're a Gold Protoss, or anything else, to be honest, you should probably be ashamed of yourself. And I'll tell you why. Saturday nights, or just on YouTube like any time, is when you can usually find the Angry Coach. And now, unrelated, if this is on YouTube as well, and you're not immediately searching out Angry Coach, make sure to like and subscribe, because you're like, Winter, now, I didn't see these games live, but I just love your casting so much because YouTube force-fed me this recommendation, and I should ring the bell to get more of that to happen. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back to the games very soon. Good luck, and have fun. Thank you guys for sticking around. Got to thank our sponsors. Now and again. But we're going into Eternal Empire. What do you want from me?
Fuck this game, man.
Reynor? His overlord went out. It didn't see it. It didn't see anything. I don't believe he drone scouted this match. I think Inno was looking to see if there was an overlord there, because if there was, he just goes. But if there's not, he can wait longer. There's already 6 lings on the way. Wait, what does Reynor know? He went... Wait, Reynor went pool first! I didn't even realize. I was too busy, like, trying to project intense shame upon innovation. That SCV scout... Oh, suddenly Reynor realizes, oh no! Oh no! He sees the second SCV. Where's this OV going? Reynor, don't lose an OV! You don't have very many of those! Oh, that's kind of important not to lose. He's going for the pervert pillar. This is kind of the... No! No! Like, you... No! Oh, he's supply blocked now. With no overlords on the... I guess he's probably going to lose some supply, but... This is one of those awkward, like, you technically had the best way to defend it, but because he had the best way to defend the proxy racks, but didn't see it, now he both doesn't have a great economy, and he's in a weird, out-of-position situation. Oh, no. Oh, the bunker finishes. Oh, that's a disaster. Oh, no. Like, but no! No! God. Reynor has 13 drones. This, if you pool first and you see the proxy racks, you have your lings in position, your OVs don't get caught. But if you pull first and you're out of position, you just have a worse economy and no creep early on. Here come the reinforcements, though. There's still an SCV repairing. Now, they're not hitting the head. The spine is technically out of range of the bunker, just slightly. It outranges it by that much. It's hitting the hatch. That's a lot of damage on the hatch. Eventually, the bunker will go down. But, okay, the bunker will be salvaged. Trying to distract here. A lot of damage is being dealt. Trying to go for it. Pulls out of the bunker. SCV getting in on the action. Okay, it's starting to come together for Reynor. The bunker, he pops out. Gets distracted again. Does whatever he can to reset the targeting. There's a lot of target fire happening. Just microing past. One queen badly bruised. The Marines don't seem to care. Murderers! The queen goes down. The spine crawler's still in range. The Marine micro is great. And while Reynor holds. But at what cost? Both queens. 5 drones. 36 Zerglings. Now, it was 21 Marines. There's just no aggressive potential for Reynor here. When you're this low on drones with no queens early, like if one queen lived, at least the creep spread could start. Maybe some larva inject. No, you've started at... He almost reset Reynor to his starting drone count. The first attack was just kind of a little off. Losing the queens really... Of course, innovation, like, not 1, but 2 command centers. And did you know a barracks flies faster than an overlord? Fun fact. Who's the real scouting tool? Also, it has more HP, but that one was pretty obvious. Now that's the Rex coming back home. Innovation, I think, is now... he can't help himself, though. Like, every game so far, this is 3 out of 3, Innovation ends up at, like, a 3cc play, where he's going to have no chance of attacking for a while. Now, this obviously was a lot more aggressive. He proxied the Rex. But when you go 3cc after this scenario and your barracks have to take the scenic route flying back to your base from halfway across the map, then it's going to be a solid 3 or 4 minutes before Innovation, okay, 3 minutes is more realistic, until Innovation really has the opportunity. Unless he's about to do some crazy blue flame play, in which case I didn't realize. I really thought that was a barracks. The Zerglings are coming in. Is this? He killed 4 SCVs. I think he may have got, like... That was 16 more Zerglings for 4 SCVs and a few more Marines. So Reynor... Reynor didn't know if there'd be a follow-up. And he also wanted to deny the expo. Yeah, Reynor is not sure what he's dealing with. I don't think he saw any of the Hellions either. He technically hasn't seen anything. I guess he saw... Well, he knows there's an orbital, and he knows there were Marines left over, but that's it. Reynor is not being as greedy as he could be, because, of course, this isn't like chess. This is poker. You're playing with incomplete information. You got crazy Koreans smirking at you, doing all-ins. And you're a little intimidated. It's going to be mech. They're double armory on the way. It's not like it was going to end with a blue flame Hellion play. Innovation's just taking his third, realizing he's in a comfortable scenario. Remember, the Overlord, not the Overlord, I'm sorry, Barracks, scouted the whole base. There's no lair. There's no roach warrant. That means the blue flame Hellions are not just great at defense, they're going to be very dangerous on offense as well. He's just going straight for the Hellbats after a little bit of drive-by. I'm pretty sure Reynor saw the blue flame, but what can he even do about it? There's no Roach Warren. There's no Baneling Nest. There's a Spine. The Queens have to scramble, but those Hellblats, Sukablats are waddling through. The Queen Split minimizing the splash damage, but still the Umbrellas are not enough. More Hellions are coming up. 4 at a time. Reactored out. 1-1 is on the way. The blue flame means that Lings evaporate almost before touching them. They're on their way across the map. There's nothing protecting the third, but the Hellbats are going to do a whole lot of damage. There's no more tech on the way. If you can get behind the Hellbats, they do damage in a cone. The counter damage is there. 8 drones, 10 drones. All the drones, they didn't run early, and now they'll die. 10 at not SCVs. I keep thinking it's SCVs, but no, Reynor only killed 3 of them. This is the ultimate chase. Transformers, go! Meanwhile, the Queens in a competition for who's slower off creep. Reynor is gonna try to... this is obviously mech. He's had every opportunity. I understand, like, he probably doesn't want to be like, well, now I'm going to... have a reaction that counters the Hellions, which would be a Roach Warren, because if he already has this many Hellions with Blue Flame, he'll be super ready to just transition into tanks or Cyclones to deal with Roaches. That is accurate. That is true. But at the same time, like, Mutaling Bane with a minimal economy against a mech player... I don't know if Raynor's a marketing genius, but it's going to be tough to sell me on that. 6 more drones. He can't afford a single one. Oh my god! The Queens funneling drones and Lings alike to their fiery death. You can't be losing these things. The Overseer coming in. Gonna see 5 factories. If he hasn't already noticed, it is 1-1 on the mech. Like, there's no... Sometimes with mech, you focus more on getting your unit composition and your basic unit upgrades, as opposed to things like +1/+1. But Innovation kind of has... Finally, greed has paid off. He's gone proxy racks into mech. There's plenty of Queens here. Brenda and her knitting crew trying to sew something together. The Zerglings trickling around, trying to get behind the Hellbats and Cyclones. The lock-on going right through that armor. The Zerglings coming around the back. The Blue Flame Hellbats don't one-shot them until they get the +2 attack. It looks like Reynor will hold. A lot of the Queens cut down. Zerglings melted. The mutas are revealed. Reynor's building 10 at a time. He hasn't started any other upgrades, whereas Innovation is going for +2/+2. But that army, I don't think Innovation was expecting it to be handled quite so well. The queens gave their lives. 9 of them have died, and I don't think that's going to be the end of it. Only 4 queens left over, 1 for each hatches inject. No longer the fighting units. But we're going to be dealing with Thors and tanks and mines, and those are all things. Like, against Cyclone Hellion, okay, queens. But Thors hit harder than Existential Dread, and then some. Sometimes, like, you get to a point where the only real solid counter to Thors is Neural Parasite to be able to get Thors on your side. So Reynor looks like he's going to try to fit a square peg in a round hole here with mutas against a well-upgraded mech composition, and I can't stress how dangerous this is. He's 1 or 2 seconds away with the Mutalists from just losing them all. They just die. Wow, he gets right on top. He has Fire Attack 1 finishing. +2 Thors! They 2-shot mutas. The splash damage 2-shots mutas. In fact, he's essentially 0 seconds away from losing all his mutas. If they're clumped up in the wrong place, they're all dead. Like, it takes no seconds. Those +2 Thors just slaughter them. He has no armor. The Cyclones are chasing them into the corner, and yes, Innovation puts mutas in a corner. Oh no, Daddy's coming! Oh no! Wait, can he see him? Oh no! Wait. Alright, so they escape, but now Innovation's just coming across the map. Lingbane? Mutalingbane? Where are the Thors? There are no Thors here, so there's an opportunity. Thors take their sweet, sweet time. But triple G out of Reynor. This time, Innovation strikes back. The mech army meching it happen. That mutas do not counter mech. Innovation took every liberty there after the proxy regs. That's what we were expecting to see. The thing is, the worst feeling is when you have the counter build. Like, and Reynor did have the counter build. Pool first, but like not quick pull, just a pull first. You get a queen, you get Zerglings. But he didn't quite scout the Rex, which means Innovation caught him in an awkward spot. So that way, Reynor can't leverage the pull first. He can't use his pull first in order to defend effectively. And because you went pull first, your economy is lower. So he got kind of the worst of both worlds to start that off. Like, honestly, it was a little impressive that he held it all, especially after losing the Overlord and not breaking it on the first attack. But from there, Innovation's not 1, but 2 more command centers. Well, we'll see. Everybody chill. Find serenity. We're going to Zen. I don't think Reynor can be too mad about that. Like, it was gonna happen. There was gonna be a proxy rags. It was on the table. But let's calm down. Let's chill out. Get back to the macro matches. Place your bets. Is Innovation? He's now proxy raxing this game. Is he going to go 3cc before Starport again? I would say 3rd CC before a Starport is the indicator of greed. After a Starport, it's quick, but I wouldn't say... I guess the difference between greedy and macro-focused, or at least... no, macro-focused is probably the most concise way to say it. the thing about 3cc that early, if Reynor puts together a Roach all-in, even if Innovation scouts it, there's a good chance he doesn't hold. But there's also the downside. If like Reynor just blindly does a Roach all-in, and Innovation doesn't do a 3cc build, like Reynor would have to be lining up the Roach all-in before Innovation committed to the 3rd CC. That's the difference. So that's where we got like the poker game going on. Oh, this is just a mind game right here. Oh, he knows he got spotted. Oh, you douchebag. Oh, Oh my god, he bit so hard! Oh no! Oh, all of the drones! Oh my god. Reynor, the PTSD. Oh, now his match is finishing. He pulled all of the drones. I can't. Innovation. He hurt him so much in that last game. Why did they switch colors? I hate it when they do this. Yeah. Can you tell when he pulled all his drones? I can't stress how bad that is for Reynor. It doesn't seem like he didn't lose any. But it's not like Innovation has to catch up. All he did was build a bunker that he canceled. It cost him 25 minerals. And maybe a very slight delay on his factory. If that. Whereas Reynor wasn't mining with most of his drones for like 20 seconds. And he built a bunch of Zerglings, and he's already gone pool first. Oh my god. You see, that's the strength. The strength of the Proxy Rax build is not necessarily the games where you do Proxy Rax. It's the games where you don't. In Reynor's mind, around every corner, every SCV he meets could be building a bunker for those Proxy Raxes. Even if there's been 300 SCVs, 500 SCVs this series. That's probably a high number, but it only takes the 1 or 2 SCVs building those bunkers. And suddenly, every SCV is a Proxy Rexer. Here comes the Roach Warren. Reynor has decided it gets scouted immediately. Reynor only has 31 drones. He's saving... Well, he was saving up. But now, once that is scouted, he has... Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Well, the thing is, Reynor, the reason he moved his queens to kill the Reaper, both queens, there should have been a queen here to block. But then the Hellions came in after the... And originally, Reynor, he got scouted, so he was macroing up and wasn't going to do a Roach all-in because it was so obvious. But then the Hellions came in, and now he feels like he has to do a Roach all-in. But now that the Roach all-in he's doing now got scouted by the next round of Hellions, he's now building drones in a lair, which means that Innovation has just bounced the ball up off the backboard for himself. And in about 10 seconds, we're going to see a tactical dunk all the way out of this game. I wouldn't be surprised if immediate GG. Honestly, this is a total and absolute disaster for Reynor. Oh, he spots the battlecruiser, kills the Ovi, and where is it? At the 3rd. Oh god. Reynor's supply blocked. And the Overlords are gonna die. There's not even enough queens to kill the battlecruiser. There's only 1 transfuse. Oh my god. He has dismantled his mind, his spirit, and his body in this game. Innovation coming in. Like, it's not over. But I'm desperately, like, what does Reynor have going for him? His creep spread isn't terrible, I guess. Like, if this is one of those games where if Innovation makes a couple wrong turns, then this is so tough. At this point, Reynor just has to full gamble. He has to double down on either heavily into corruptors or heavily into roaches at the right time, and he has to hope he comes up against Innovation, and Innovation scans roach speed and aspire. Surprise! Hello, hello. How are you? Right now, there's no creep. Oh, the Yamato on the high energy queens. Hello. The spore moved. Oh. This is like LeBron James versus the other Cavaliers right now in this match. All of them at the same time. Like, this is the worst part. This is the worst feeling as Zerg. When, yeah, he's not dead. Like, Reynor has 63 drones. He's still got 100 supply. He's not dead. But it would have to be a cure level throw right now. And Innovation has handled that before. But it'd have to be a cure level throw from Innovation in order for Reynor to come back into this match. He would have to lose the battle cruisers for nothing, and then run his hell clones into roaches, losing few roaches, and then also not build units and not defend. Like, I can't. I bet Innovation now. Honestly, let's talk about next game. That's the most important part. Because if Reynor gets anywhere remotely close to defending this, I will be blown away. Does Inno proxy Rex? I feel like maybe he proxy Rexes. Now here's the mind game. You proxy Rex one Rex in the most obvious location. Just one. And go for like a Scouting Reaper, and that's it. There's some Corruptors here. The problem is the Hell Clone. Even if the battle cruisers weren't here, the ground army is ridiculously dangerous. Reynor just doesn't have the cost effectiveness here. Whoa, that was not a great fight. Yeah, the Banelings got way better connections than they ever deserved to. Battle cruiser jumps out of the biles. But Innovation already has 2-2 on the way. Reynor has +1 attack with nothing else in the mail right now. Innovation's 4th command center. Reynor has finally caught up in income for effectively the first time this game. I think right before Innovation landed his 3rd. A scatter shotgun blast of corrosive bile there, but Cyclones are pretty maneuverable units. Cyclones are one of the most frustrating things to deal with on a herd economy. Is Reynor's holding. He's holding. The problem is, Reynor's army does not get better with a max out. He just has proportionally more of what he's already building. Whereas Innovation's army is continually getting better. More upgrades, more bases, smart servos. He's gonna have the battlecruisers are back, by the way. The scan long range almost kills the hatch. He can get some Yamatos out potentially on the corruptors and jump away. He should jump one. He does. Another round. Innovation easily dodges away from the tree. Oh, that's a beautiful tree. I like that tree. Oh, is he gonna go? Oh, the fadeaway! I thought he was gonna go for the base. I was really hoping he would. Innovation's got the rich Vespine base on the way. This is a pretty long death animation as Reynor gets besieged on all sides from incredibly maneuverable and cost-effective units. Reynor's setting up a semi-flank here, but this has to all come together so perfectly. Innovation spots it. There's a lot of moving parts here. All he has to, he's going towards the corner. That's a lot of banelings. It's hard to kill him all. Whoa, okay, all right, okay. He's literally cornered him. Yeah, this is okay. He drove, to the corner. He's gonna kill all the clones. Okay, Reynor with a solid cleanup there, but he loses another hatch to battlecruisers. The unit's lost. Despite that, banelings, and now this is a very sad fact. They die when they attack. Sure, he created a lot of space, but think of how much money he spent on those Banes just to make that happen. That's not coming back. Oh my, the Cyclones are boxing in. The Corruptor count is critically low. The battlecruisers will be cleaned up. Reynor he's holding on. 530 average actions per minute and climbing. But this hill might be a little too steep. He's down 50 supply. Innovation has secured himself a comfortable economic position, a comfortable map control situation. His infrastructure is humming along smoothly. His upgrades are nearly complete. There's not much left to be done. High sec auto tracking. The Baneling, sure. Once again, Innovation gets cornered, but he can take the hatch with him. I heard a battlecruiser jump into the fray. Oh, alley-ooped! Reynor almost gets the setup there. In fact, he will. Innovation throws his entire army away. Reynor once again. Maybe, unfortunately, no. Reynor, don't feel hope. Don't you do it. Innovation has 100 SCVs. Don't you dare feel hope. His young heart is about to be broken I mean, I'm sure he knows. But when you win a fight like that, you're like, but maybe? Maybe? No. 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 Don't allow yourself to hope. 102 SCVs. The battlecruisers are in the main. A greater spire. Innovation keeps sending out. How many? He's lost 35 Cyclones. That's an Indian Ocean of Cyclones right now. But he ain't done. The Hellbats bringing fire. Upgrades denied. Reynor. It's taken a long, long while. It's a Sean Bean level death. But it is a death. From the very start. Shattering his mental stability with a single SCV and a single bunker. Reynor killed everything. Innovation lost everything again. No! He's just buttering him up. It's 3-3 against +2 with +1 sprinkled in for some units. And Innovation, he has 8 factories and he's going to 3 starports here. Just kill him! This is part, like, now he's fighting for the series. He's letting Reynor just barely live. He wants him to build up as much hope as possible. It has to be tactical, I'm sure. And then... the maximum amount of hope crushed after all this time. This is still not the army. Like, how do you win? Look at the left side of the map. Innovation has he has 102 SCVs. He's got 3,500 more income per minute. He's got over 5,000 minerals per minute. He could pay... He has over double... He could pay Reynor's salary at this point. He's building 6 more factories. He's decided vertical integration is the way to go. Another battle cruiser. Crush hope. The question is, at what point does Reynor actually tap out? Because Innovation isn't really winning these fights or the game. But, like, he's definitely not losing. He is in so many ways. Like, this income inequality is such a problem, it would be called a socialist. Didn't put that joke together. But... Innovation is a capitalist. Reynor's calling for socialism, but at the end of the day, Reynor's going to die horribly. Something, Red Army. It was all there. But just like Reynor, he has all the pieces, but he can't put them together because Innovation is too damn rich. It doesn't matter how efficient he is. Like, the Broodlords and the Infestors, the Corruptors and Ravagers, these are all of the right units. He has all of the stuff he needs, but he doesn't have nearly enough of it. Okay. Innovation. Let him live. And I am convinced that that was the strategy. He let him live for like 8 minutes longer than he ever needed to. He put him right on the edge of, like, you can't just leave the game. What is the most demoralizing thing in StarCraft? It's when you leave the game and there's no attack. Like, the attack didn't just end. You didn't just lose anything. The attack's over. You defended. But you're like, oh no. Sometimes players will do that. Sometimes, like, you've seen it before. And every Twitch chat grandmaster will be like, did he really need to leave there? And the answer is yeah. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. But... Reynor refused to do that. He refused to give up, like... And Innovation just went to... Innovation both put his economy so high and his army supplies so low that he could never actually win a fight decisively. I'm so scared in Game 5 now. Like, that's such a mental victory. That bunker was the most effective bunker that never completed I have seen in many, many games. Oh no. Map 5, the ace match, is on Golden Wall. Oh no. If there is a map that you have to be concerned about sneaky Terran strategies, I don't know if there's a more obvious one. I'm so scared. So, like, he scouted it. Here come the drones. I was too busy looking at Smirkovation. This game was not a pull first. Well, this is awkward. Like... So he doesn't want to let the barracks finish. 2 drones can technically kill a Marine. He's looking for a 3rd Rex. Innovation's building a Reaper off of this. Well, now this is confusing. So the Reaper's a great choice. It's going to be there even relatively earlier than your average Reaper, but he shuts the door in the face of the drone. Overall, I think this is a win for Reynor. Like, he's scouted the Rex. He denied the second one. He's not going to really... Like, the Reaper is an admission that this is over, essentially. Like, you build the Reaper and you move on with your life. The Reaper's going to be very annoying. But I have no idea where we go from here. Innovation probably builds too many command centers. And Reynor... It kind of feels like Reynor doesn't know where he wants to go from here. He's getting the gas. Just one. But it's not particularly quick. He wasn't, like, rushing speed out. He's not going to do a counter all-in, at least not yet. Does Innovation mine out? Because we're on Golden Wall. Besides the literal Golden Wall, you have the underworld here. I honestly don't know. It's a whole lot. This is where the poker game gets even more intense. I have to take based on what I've seen and also just a calculated risk. What are you doing? And it's harder for Reynor than Innovation, I think, here. As obviously the Reaper is scouted. And a lot of what Reynor is doing is going to be shown to Innovation. Yep, there's the 3rd command center. Innovation leans back. So, I wonder if I'm seeing a coincidence here. 2 macro bio games. Innovation struggled. Reynor just ran him over. 2 mech games. What a catch and kill. Innovation looking incredibly strong. Of course, the proxy rexes and threat of proxy rex were a big part of that, but let's just gloss over that part. A gas on the low ground was spotted by the Reaper, but it was caught and killed before it could get into the main and see the relatively quick lair. In fact, considering he sent drones out so early, he hasn't gone for Zergling speed. He went lair before Zergling speed. Is this a Nidus? Or is this a Spire? The Zergling speed tells me Spire. The 4 gases tell me Spire. The Spire itself tells me Spire. So now Innovation is going to have 3 command centers, and he's going Battlecruiser. But the Battlecruiser is going to be done. It takes almost as long as a Spire to build. So he could be going right up against a direct counter. And in this case, you can actually go mutas against Battlecruiser. Obviously, Battlecruisers can shoot at the mutas. They'll probably kill a couple. But Battlecruiser is all of your gas. The Overseer coming in. It's going to see the Fusion Core. Reynor sees the 3rd command center as well. Reynor has all the information he needs. The cards are now on the table for Innovation. What does Reynor do? Does he build a Roach Warren and go for Corruptors, or does he go Mutiling Baneling? Because no Roach Warren, I think you have to go Mutas then. Like, that has to be the play. Whereas, if he went for a Roach Warren, he'd be going into the Corruptors. No Baneling Nest, no Evo Chambers. He wants every drop of gas he can suck out of those extractors. Oh, what? Innovation just shows up. The Spire's not done yet. There's only 4 queens. I don't think Reynor was really factoring in the Hellions here getting involved, which aren't a huge damage increase. Now, the Battlecruisers are getting driven back. Reynor doesn't have that much economy during this. But the Mutalists might even be able to chase it down. I think they will. The Widow Mines coming out to try to save the Battlecruiser. The Mutas flapping away. And, oh, those Widow Mines. Oh, will Reynor reel? And the Battlecruiser goes right over them! He really wants the cruiser! If he saves this cruiser, that's disgusting. He can easily go get the mines! Go get the mines! Go get the mines, Reynor! No! God! What a muta risk he took. Go get the mines! So, Reynor has now lost 500 gas of mutas to kill 1 300 gas battlecruiser. Obviously, it doesn't tell the whole story, but mutas are a very momentum-based unit. If you have an overwhelming amount of mutas, they just can't do certain things. They can't move out on the map. They can't rely on 1 battlecruiser to defend them with a couple Widow Mines. If Reynor had 5 more mutas, no chance Innovation's taking this base right now. No chance. He has to get at least a few more mines, maybe another cruiser, I don't know. But that many mines dying. The double gas. The scan at the 3rd tells Innovation, yes, it is going to continue to be mutas. He doesn't have that many drones. Just counter the mutas. You don't need to deal with roaches. There's not going to be a huge switch into ground. It is just mutas. Reynor loves his mutas. He really does. Probably too much. But they're going to pay off here. He finds some SCVs. A little disjointed on the attack. Kills 6 SCVs. That's going to start to even things up. Income advantage going slightly to Reynor here. The Evo Chambers just now started. That's been a running trend in this series. Even in the games that Reynor won, Innovation was on top of the upgrades. He's got +1/+1 mech upgrades, which are more expensive. You have to spend gas just to build an armory. Halfway done. Reynor just now finished his evolution chamber. He's going to go Mutiling Baneling. I think it's better than in Game 3 on Eternal Empire, but it's still dicey. +1 flyer attack is on the way as well. Battlecruiser jumps into the main. That's not like the Battlecruiser will die here, but the Thor pops out as well. And another one underneath. Surprise! More factories on the way. Reynor, like, I get so stressed out. It's such, puns entirely intended, but it's such a muta risk. These mutas are a huge investment that can go up in bloody chunks in just a split second. The thing is, against bio, at least it takes a little bit of time for Marines. Thor Valleys plus Widow Mines, they're just gone. They're just gone. Sure, Reynor has the most APM in the business. I actually think he is the fastest in terms of APM StarCraft player out there. I haven't seen anyone who averages over 500 so consistently. But there's only so much you can get done with the mutas, no matter how perfect your micro is. They just... There's a certain amount of Thors and Widow Mines that you just can't fight. So it always stresses me out so much when he leans on the mutas like this. What? I didn't even realize the Widow Mine was going off. Obviously Reynor didn't either. I didn't even notice. What a place to put it. In that little mineral gap. +1/+1 finishing. More factories. He's getting Hive, but for what? Vipers? Is there going to be Lurker tech? The mutas will kill a couple Hellions, but as soon as the mutas are spotted here, guess what? Army moves out. Because the mutas are not back at my base harassing, says Inno. So let's go find them. Let's go kill them. That's the key point here. As soon as the mutas are spotted, Innovation knows exactly where to go. Now, mutas, they do fly. They are fast. Key component. The trade-off, as I've said so many times, they just die to so much stuff. The Hive is on the way, but there's, I guess, swarm hosts are on the table. There's no... This would be the time for Lurkers. If ever there was a time for Lurkers, please, Reynor. Show me the Lunkers. Oh, Zerglings. Well, barbecued. I was going to say evaporated, but barbecued is definitely closer. He's heavy on Hellion Cyclone Widowmine. The backbone could be the Lurkers. Instead of a risky Lisk, a Lisk that gets you a win and nope. Ugh, I'm really not landing these. Anyways, but speaking of landing, the 4th command center is now a planetary. And the Banelings blast through it! Reynor strikes back. 11 SCVs alongside it as well. Widow Mines, Banelings, evaporating. He's using them as a shield for the rest of his units to force Innovation to micro away. And if he can't, of course, connects. Still, 15 SCVs go down. It's working. Oh, God, the Thors with +2! And those mutas have no carapace. It's 2-shot on the mutas. You need, like, there are 4 Thors. That's a deadly number. Just how do you beat the army, though? The Thors are so chunky. He's caught between a rock and a hard place right now as Reynor. You can't, like, how do you actually kill the Thor? Zerglings, yes, but they're Blue Flame Hellbats. Ultralisks! Ultralisks! I said not risky Lisks! I mean, of all the units, I guess Ultras have more HP, but Thors, against Cyclone Thor? Cyclones, their lock-on ignores armor because it's spell damage. They already have Mag Field Accelerator. Reynor just trying to raise my blood pressure. He's had the income. He's actually had a huge income advantage for a little bit now, especially after killing that 4th. The muta's dragging the army back. I think the moves he's making now, Innovation's starting to realize, oh, well, where did that Widowmine come from? Innovation starting to realize that Reynor's trying to keep him busy instead of actually trying to make the mutas work. So, Innovation brings his army to bear. He has 142 to 106 army supply. Because Reynor's at 87 drones. Now they're concentrated on just 4 bases. He can't really afford to lose this base. He didn't mine out the mineral wall here. He's taking the gold, so that's something. He doesn't want to give this up, though. Chitinous plating is on the way. He doesn't want these to just be paperless, though it won't matter that much. Zerglings in the natural. Zerglings in the main. The economy of innovation will be on mule life support. The mutas knocked out of the sky nearly immediately. The Zerglings are killing most of the SCVs, which for this one attack means Innovation's army is overwhelming. Are the Ultras enough? The Banelings crashing through. The Ultras chopping up the Thors. Banelings rolling past the ones that survive. Zerglings and Ultras will take it out. He's doing it with 30 SCVs down. Innovation knocked down to 126 supply, and he holds the base. The only awkward part is the lack of anti-air. Ultraless speed is on the way. Ultraless speed. The Usain Boltralisks with their chitinous plating. He's gonna have 3-3. Adrenal glands is done. Reynor, despite all of my stress attacks, is putting it together. He's got 582 actions per minute. And he's not slowing down. That's apparently all you need. But the Cyclones! There's an entire clone war of Cyclones here. They're just locking on everything, but that little doodad in the center making things difficult. He gets some lock-ons, the Ultras. The Zerglings are covering. He's microing back. His army is almost entirely Cyclones. He has 21. The Ultralists evaporate if they get any locks. Reynor has to pull back. He's chased back. The army supply is still in Innovation's favor here. Some Banelings come in from the side. Innovation not paying attention. There are glass cannons there. Glass cannons on wheels, but glass nonetheless. Innovation, despite all of this, has reestablished multiple bases. He has mules to drop. His income will be shored up for now. The creep spread has been driven back. Infestors, a couple fungals could decide this entire match. Reynor has pulled out of what looked kind of like a nosedive for a couple games and kept it together for now. Can he reach 600 APM before this is decided? Oh my god. The Zerglings counterattack. Widowmine's trying to get involved, just not inspired enough. He gets into the main, onto the production. Fully upgraded Cracklings here. The Cyclone Mine. The production. SCV's starting to fall as well. He's down to 42, but there are some mines. Where are the Infestors? Burrow is on the way for Reynor. Maybe a little bit of an oversight. He could have used that earlier. The Cyclone. He's got 21 of them. Innovation is still working with what he has. It's getting tough. It's still a brittle, like, this unit composition. Ooh. Oh no, the Widowmines. He needs the Lings in front. Okay, more Widowmines connect. The target fire looking for fungals. Doesn't find it. Ultra goes down. One fungal. Not enough. More Ultras coming forward. The Cyclones kite back with ease. The fungals are required. Reynor loses a lot more. Clears up the mines, though. Innovation is still mining off of a whole lot of bases. He just doesn't really have the worker count. He has the army supply. Oh, another Ultra goes down. He has just enough to buffer. Where are the fungals? Is there the energy? It just now has enough. But he's down to just 3 Ultras mid-map. The Cyclones are just auto-locking, and that's why the Zerglings are so important. It's very difficult to manually micro the Cyclones in this scenario. Fungal goes out! He's going to be able to chase down a few more. Reynor is doing it. He's chopping through. It's not cost-effective. It's not pretty. He's lost 10,000 more resources, including 3,300 about more gas. He's lost 500 more units. He has almost that in APM. Wait, 607 APM! Average and rising. But he's not out of the woods yet, because he is one bad fight away. Both players are one bad fight away, but Reynor has a significantly less forgiving unit composition. He's taking good enough fights, but all it takes is a couple bad Widowmine hits and a tough angle, and suddenly Innovation is able to turn the tables. Like, this is... Oh, God. Oh, my God. Does he know about the... Oh, God, the risk. The risk. Oh, the risk festers! Are you insane? The Widow Mines will come up, but he doesn't even, he gets like one fungal. It's a good fight. A lot of burrow, they can't see each other underground. There's a lot of dirt. Innovation, I think that went better for him. The fungals, that was the key play there. That was where he was supposed to end this. And instead, the mines. Oh, starting to roast drones. The worker counts are getting dangerously even. The mines haven't really been cleared up either. More target fire. Finding some ultras. Oh, he lost the hatch! The Cyclones with the fadeaway locks. A burrow baneling. Desperation. Innovation has stabilized his worker count. He's now mining from a gold base as well. And you do not want to be remotely close to an army. This is like 200 versus 120 army supply composition. Ultras, Lings, Banes, he doesn't have the Innovation has more money. For the last 10 minutes, Reynor has spent everything on an Ultralisk. No, Ultralisks. But unfortunately, Innovation has invested more wisely in the mines again. His capitalist tendencies from last game carried over. One fungal comes out, but he's caught between a rock and a hard place. Coming down the ramp with the Ultras, a surround of the Cyclones. And this was the potential for so long. All it takes is one bad fight. And the Cyclone Mine army composition shows its value. You need, like, well, the Lurkers, Vipers, Broodlords, maybe, kind of. Even more Infestors, but the Ultras needed to get across the map and get some economic damage. He needed to lay down the hammer. Now Innovation has exactly a custom-tailored composition. Reynor has been trying to keep him off balance for most of the match, and succeeded for most of the match. But once Innovation stabilizes, now Reynor is living on a prayer. Finally, the southern base has been taken here, freeing up some options. I don't know what he expects to do with those. This base is gone. The Ultras, Innovation's max now. You just see, well, Red is Innovation. At no point has Reynor, this I think was the big Infestor play. At no point has Reynor's army been significantly larger. It's just he has a hammer he's swinging around. Unfortunately, Innovation has some of the easiest unit. Oh my god. What is this? The DMZ? The fungal. He panics and he sees a mine. Who's surrounding who? Innovation closes in. I'm sorry. It's just so great. If ever there was a game for Lurkers. The final locks. As Innovation locks the match down. Reynor was so close to making it work. Innovation was scrambling. The Lings were everywhere. One Broodlord to rule them all. Killed and it's... Oh. Reynor losing, at the end of the day, nearly 20,000 more resources. Innovation keeps his cool. And he keeps his tournament alive. The proxy Rex really turned things around. They really did. Reynor was not on the same footing. Of course, for both players, like Innovation started really adjusting his play, and Reynor started adjusting, but in a worse direction. Innovation comes out on top. Hopefully you enjoyed my breakdown. Like and subscribe and ring all of the bells and tell me, like, good thing Widowmines got buffed in the last patch. Wouldn't you agree? I'm sure we can have a productive and even-keeled commentary on that. Thank you for watching. Good luck. Have fun. Have an amazing day. See you next time.